Hello everybody, I'm Raphael Perry and it's time for some more Fabled Lands. Now, I've put off starting a new episode for a little while because I've been thinking about the kind of character I'd like to play next. I have been intrigued by the idea of multiclassing, that is, acquiring skills from another class. And I did a little bit of a sit down, bit of a think about which character class could get to another class easiest and which classes they could get to the most easily. Now, getting skills from another class requires getting the ability score for that class up to a 6, so generally we want an ability score of 4 or 5. And it seems that the Wayfarer might be one of the best suited to this. However, the Wayfarer's promotion quest to get to rank 2 is gated behind a hard charisma check which the Wayfarer will struggle with. This is a bit of a theme for some of the classes who seem like they're going to have an easier time leveling up quite quickly early on. So I was actually tempted to put up a poll and ask which of the character classes would you like to see me play a character of next using the new customization options. And then I just didn't do that. I know, could have done, I didn't. I thought, you know what? I really did fancy Vorga the Warrior getting her chance. So let me see, it was this one. This one. And when it comes to changing the armor at the bottom, some of you might go, hey Raph, but this green bit doesn't change. Yeah, that's because it's the bottom of the scabbard of the sword. And she had the eye patch because she wanted to be like her famous relative Vorga the Warrior. Sorry, Lorga. But yeah, let's give her a go. So, what am I going to try and do? I can get that sanctity up to a 6 quite quickly, but what do I need to do for on the mountain? Because the man with the velvet eye patch, I mean, hey, she's got an eye patch, right? She'll know what to look for. That's relatively easy. I say relatively. Going up to a mountain will involve getting enough money to buy climbing gear and some kind of skill check that she might actually struggle with. It will also involve spending her 10 starting gold to get into the priest's house in Malok City. What else? Oh, another thing that might make it a bit easier for multiclassing would be that there are a few quests that give +1 to an ability score of your choice. And that would be very easy to put them on a lesser ability score and say, let's make this more important. Let's pump this up to a 6. However, the ability for a hero or heroine to get their main class ability score up to a 7 from a 6 is actually really hard, because most of the quests I've found that give an ability score advancement are promotion quests for a class you're not a member of. So, let's dive in and hope she has a fairly decent time of it, or at least not too bad. We get this reassuringly familiar map here on the main screen. Do I want to skip the intro? I don't know. I mean, I imagine most of you have seen it before, but hey, guess what? It's been a while, so might as well enjoy it again, right? The approach of dawn has turned the sky a milky grey green like jade. The sea is a luminous pane of silver. Holding the tiller of your sailing boat, you keep your gaze fixed on the glittering constellation known as the Spider. It marks the north, and by keeping it to port, you know you are still on course. Port's on the right, starboard's on the left. I'm pretty sure. Which means we are heading west. The sun appears in a trembling burst of red fire at the rim of the world. Slowly the chill of night gives way to brazen warmth. You lick your parched lips. There is a little water sloshing in the bottom of the barrel by your feet, but not enough to see you through another day. Sealed in a scroll case tucked into your jerkin is the parchment map your grandfather gave you on his deathbed. You remember his stirring tales of far sea voyages, of kingdoms beyond the western horizon, of sorcerous islands and ruined places filled with treasure. As a child, you dreamed of nothing else but the magical quests that were in store if you too became an adventurer. You never expected to die in an open boat before your adventures even began. Securing the tiller, you unroll the map and study it again. You hardly need to. Every detail is etched into your memory by now. According to your reckoning, you should have reached the east coast of Lacuna, the great northern continent, days ago. A pasty grey blob splatters onto the map. After a moment of stunned surprise, you look up and curse the seagulls circling directly overhead. Then it strikes you. Where there's a seagull, there may be land. You leap to your feet and scan the horizon. Sure enough, a line of white cliffs lie a league to the north. Have you been sailing along the coast all this time without realizing the mainland was so close? Steering towards the cliffs, you feel the boat judder against rough waves. A howling wind whips plumes of spindrift across the sea. Breakers pound the high cliffs. The tiller is yanked out from your hands. The little boat is spun around, out of control, and goes plunging in towards the coast. You leap clear at the last second. There is the snap of timber, the roaring crescendo of the waves, and then silence as you go under. Striking out wildly, you try to swim clear of the razor-sharp rocks. For a while, the undertow threatens to drag you down, then suddenly a wave catches you and flings you contemptuously up onto the beach. It's time to begin your adventure. Battered and bedraggled, you lie gasping for breath until you hear someone walking along the shore towards you. Wary of danger, you lose no time in getting to your feet. Confronting you is an old man clad in a dirty loincloth. His eyes have a feverish, bright look that is suggestive of either a mystic or a madman.
"Well, well, well, what have we here, friends?"
asks the old man. He seems to be talking to someone next to him, although you're certain he is alone.
"Looks like a washed-up adventurer to me," he says in answer to his own question. "All wet and out of luck."
He carries on having a conversation that quickly turns into a heated debate. He is clearly quite mad. Excuse me, you shout above the hubbub in an attempt to grab the old man's attention. He stops and stares at you. "Is this the Isle of the Druids?" you ask impatiently.
"Oh, indeed it is," says the old man. "I see that you are from a far land, so it is up to me to welcome you to Lacuna. But I think you may have much to do here, as it is written in the stars that someone like you would come. Your destiny awaits you. Follow me, young adventurer."
The old man turns smartly about and begins walking up a path towards some hills. You can see some sort of monolithic stone structure atop one of them. Well, let's just check to see if there's anything we can salvage from this situation. You find a small vial holding a reddish concoction. You bless your good fortune when you recognize it as a healing potion. We will absolutely take this with us.
Come on, I'll show you the gates of the world," the old man babbles.
During your short trip upward, the old man regales you with tales of your destiny and fate, continuously arguing with himself as he does so. It's almost as if he doesn't know which possible future we might be about to experience. Oh, there are so many options. The curse of free will, you could say. You reach a hill covered with a circle of large obsidian stones. Despite the bitter wind that blows across these hills, the stones are unweathered and seem almost newly lain. You could almost call it a biting wind.
"Here are the gates of the world," says the old man.
The stones are laid in such a way that they form 3 archways, each carven with mystical symbols and runes of power.
"Each gate will take you to a part of the world of Harkuna, though I know not where," explains the old man.
Abruptly he turns around and sets off down the hill, babbling to himself. His voice fades as he descends the hill, leaving you alone with the brooding stones and the howling wind. There are 3 stone gates engraved with ancient runes. Each gate is marked with a name: Yellowport, Malok City, and Wishport. From here you can see the coast and the whole island, which is heavily forested. Now, at this point it would be tempting to step through one of the archways. However, I would like to see if I can kill the Wereboar, because that can be quite rewarding. You decide to explore the island further and ponder where to go next. You have a clear view of the top of the hill of the northern parts of the island, and you notice a previously unknown to you road that snakes along the cliff tops. It just kind of sneaks along there, hoping no one will notice it, but we spied that old road. Yes, we did. You make your way around the coast. The interior of the island appears to be heavily forested. After a while, however, you come to a bay in which a couple of ships are anchored. A small settlement nestles on the beach. The trading post is a small village set up here by enterprising settlers from the mainland. Their main export appears to be the furs from the forest. The mayor, a fat, genial fellow who greets you personally, insists that one day the trading post will be a thriving town. There is not a lot here yet, however: a small market, a quay, the settlers' houses, and a shrine to Lacuna, the huntress goddess of nature. Now, house stash. You found an abandoned house which you claim as your own. I'm back in town, click on the chest. Yes, so we can put stuff in our house. Note that any items or shards that you store here are accessible from any house you may obtain. I find that very hard to believe. That's a major immersion breaker for me. I wish there was an option to disable that, because it literally feels like cheating. Let us visit this shrine. You want to see how the divine is represented in this settlement. The shrine is set in a wooded grove. Birds twitter in the trees, and a deer darts away into the forest at your approach. A priestess is tending a low altar where food and drink has been laid out in honor of Lacuna, the goddess of the wilderness. She is the patron of hunters, trappers, woodsmen, and all those who seek oneness with nature. I shall talk to the priestess. The priestess, dressed in silken robes and wearing a wreath of oak leaves, says, "I have need of an adventurer like yourself. For arcane reasons involving the secret mysteries of Lacuna, I need the tusk of a boar. A wereboar, in fact. Hunt down one and bring me its tusk. In return, I will teach you how to be a better scout." Now, I will accept this quest. You accept the priestess's mission. Now, that being said, however, in light with her inspiration, that would be her namesake, the Vorga, the ship from the novel Tiger by Alfred Bester. Vorga will be an interesting adventurer. That is to say, she will roll up at some location and there will be side quests, sending out distress signals, reaching out their hands to her in desperation, and she might just roll on by without even stopping to pay them a second glance. Or even a first in some cases. This is because I'm trying to get her to multiclass quickly. It won't be easy. Now, that will involve obviously trying to boost all of her ability scores as high as possible. And that's not as easy as it was back in early access because there are less... I mean, we're still in early access, aren't we, I think? But there's less stat booster quest rewards out there now than there used to be. I will leave the temple and I will go looking for the Wereboar. Now this is a challenge, as I said, because it's a contest between my money and a random dice roll. To encounter the Wereboar involves a 9+. So what is that? 2 6s, a 5 and a 6, a 6 and a 5, a 6 and a 4, a 4 and a 6, 2 5s, a 6 and a 3, a 3 and a 6, a 5 and a 4, a 4 and a 5. So that is 10 in 36. So 5 in 18. That's interesting, because if it was a 10+, it would be a 1 in 6. 5 and 18 is more like it's almost 1 in 3, but not quite. Let's give it a try. If we encounter the highwaymen, we'll have a bit of a hard time. Militia patrol, very well. These militiamen are employed by the mercantile guilds of Malok City and Yellowport to keep the roads safe. If you're worried about thieves, you should invest in a townhouse and leave some of your money at home, advises the militia sergeant. Or better still, invest at the Merchants Guild, suggests the captain. Now, if we were going into the forest to search for the great tree that guards the Druid's Grove, we will need to pass a scouting check. We have a scouting of 4, that's not so bad. We will then encounter the tree and need to make a charisma check at 3. That could be tricky. If we fail the scouting check, we will take 2 points of damage for wandering around in the forest for ages. It's just starving, trying to work out where we are until we eventually emerge. It's easy to get lost in the forest. I'm going to go back to the trading post. Something I find a little uncomfortable is the ability to keep going back to a location to, well, and then bad things happen. 2 brigands leap out from hiding and menace you with their swords. One is behind you, one in front. Give it up, they advise. Money's not worth getting killed over. Well, Vorga comes from a mighty line of ginger warriors and she's gonna fight. She's got an eye patch. She can't even see danger coming from that side. As far as she's concerned, it's all over here, They have an accomplice in hiding who shoots you with an arrow. The 3rd brigand then leaps up to join his comrades. Well, we better fight then. You prepare to teach these brigands some manners. I do hope she doesn't suffer too much here. Right, you got a ranged weapon, so let's go to here. 1, 2, maybe 3, go there. No, I'll stick here. Yeah, that's what I expected. I have a potion. Oh, that's not a good sign. Oh, got him! Oh, that was so close. And she's glad she had that potion. That was a lifesaver there. Searching the bodies of the brigands, you find a suit of leather armour, 1 suit of ring mail, a couple of bolts, a sword, and a purse containing 37 shards, which we absolutely pick up. Let's take all of those things. Now we need to go back to the trading post. We need to go to the inn and rest. The Green Man Inn costs you 1 shard a day. Each shard you spend here, you can recover 1 stamina point if injured, up to the limit of your normal unwounded stamina score. Absolutely doing that. If we're going to go try and fight the Wereboar, yeah. Armor we currently have is only leather. Let's upgrade that. We need every little bit of help we can get. Right, so we'll sell these. Sell this spare sword. And we're kind of good to go. The mandolin and compass may be nice, but do we keep the crossbow bolts or sell them? I'll keep them for now. There's only so much use a ranged weapon can bring. However, if we get attacked by Harrowman again, we have no potion. Oh, this is very nice. Wonderful. Splendid. Magnificent. A Wereboar, just what we were looking for. A Wereboar in ornate armour comes thundering out of the undergrowth near the road with a raised spear. There is no chance of retreat or surrender in this battle. Well, I won't retreat or surrender then. Okay. Let's go. Tactical assessment, move up and get stabbed. Yep, that happened. Knock him back into that little pond. There's no ducks in it, but... Oh, you beauty! Look at that. That was gorgeous. I fear Vorga is at risk of succumbing to an insidious killer known as overconfidence. The creature's armour is too heavy to suit you, but you can take a hunting spear and a boar's tusk. Grab your acquisitions and continue onwards. Absolutely. Back to town we go. Now, we head back to the shrine of Lacuna and speak to the priestess. The priestess, who is wearing the skin of a wolf and is covered in red paint, welcomes you gleefully. At last, the tusk of a Wereboar. Now the ceremony can go ahead. The priestess rewards you with knowledge. We gain 1 scouting permanently, and that is available to characters of all classes, and it's not a level up upgrade, it's just a pure stat upgrade. That will help in trying to find the Druid's Grove. Our scouting has now increased to a 4. Was it not a 4 already? I'm not sure. I'd like to become an initiate of Lacuna. Becoming an initiate of Lacuna gives you the benefit of paying less for blessings and other services the temple can offer. It costs 30 shards to become an initiate. You cannot do this if you're already an initiate of another temple. Now, this may help us in Golnir. Lacuna has been recorded as your goddess in your adventure sheet. When you renounce the worship of a god or goddess, I don't think you can ever go back to them again. Although the oriental versions up in the northeast of the map of some of the southern gods might allow for options to kind of go back thematically. And we will seek a blessing. If you're an initiate, it costs only 10 shards to purchase Lacuna's blessing. A non-initiate must pay 25 shards. That'll give us a reroll on a scouting check. That's good. Now, I could go to the Temple of Nagil and help them track down the ghoul that has escaped. That involves a magic check, which is 2, and a charisma check, which is 3, and a sanctity check, which at a 4 we stand a maybe reasonable chance. For now, I think that quest is not for us, and it's time to head for the mainland. Now, do we want to go for Yellowport or Malok City? We'll want to head up to the Devil's Finger after Malok City, but I feel There's slightly more lower level opportunities in Yellowport than in Malok City, but there's one in Malok City we really want. So yeah, let's go up to the Standing Stones. And we will step through one of the archways to Malok City. You step through the archway. Immediately the symbols on the stone begin to glow with red-hot energy. Your hair stands on end and your body tingles. A crackling nimbus of blue-white force engulfs you, and the sky darkens and thunder and lightning crash and leap across the heavens. Suddenly your vision fades and everything goes black. When your sight returns, you find yourself outside the gates of a huge fortified city. A guard starts in surprise at the sight of you, then he shakes his head as if to clear it. Sure, he must have imagined what he just saw. The gates open up and a troop of heavy cavalry canter past. Moving at a canter, that's an interesting gait. They must be cheery at the start of their journey, full of energy.
"Make way for the Malok City militia," says the guard.
When they have passed, you walk into the city. Malok City is a huge, sprawling metropolis, enclosed in a fortified wall said to have been built 1,000 years ago by the ancient Shadar Empire. It is the capital city of Saqqara. Malok City was once known as Sokar, until General Grieve Malok led the army in bloody revolt against the old king Corin VII, and had him executed. The general renamed the city after himself. It is now a crime to call it Sokar. The general lives in the old king's palace and calls himself the protector general of all Saqqara. Whereas the old king was corrupt, the general rules with a fist of iron. Some people like the new regime. Others are royalists, still loyal to Nergan, the heir to the throne, who has gone into hiding somewhere. Outside the city gates hang the bodies of many dead people. Labels around their necks read, "Rebels executed by the state for the good of the people."
"You best behave yourself if you don't want to end up like one of them,"
grates a guardsman, nodding towards the swinging corpses as you pass through the great eagle-headed gates of Malok City. To leave Malok City by sea, or to buy or sell ships and cargo, go to the harbour master. Now, I could have gone straight to Wishport, headed up the western side of Golnir, and tried to pick up the Velvet Eye Patch quest. I could have done that. Golnir is ever so slightly more dangerous than Saqqara though, so I'm going to stick over here for now. See if I can... I'm not going to quite try and do the warrior promotion quest in Golnir just yet. I'd like to get, a few more supplies, potions, various other things. Okay, 2 to 5, 5 action points, 1 to 6, 4 action points. Can't roll a 1. 2 range, dubious value. Limited use at the moment, but let's keep it there. What we are going to do is explore the city. You take a stroll through the streets. Malok City is teeming with people. We will visit the Street of Entertainers for a very obvious reason.
"Psst, come here, friend,"
someone whispers from the shadows. Well, let's go see what he wants.
"Want to try your luck in the gambler's den?"
asks a short, dark man dressed as a mercenary bodyguard.
"Just 5 shards entrance fee."
He nods to a door at the top of some rickety stairs. "We will pay the money." He smiles and takes you into the gambler's den. You're in a smoke-filled casino full of all kinds of dubious characters playing cards and dice. We shall gamble. Decide how much you want to bet, up to a maximum of 20 shards. We'll keep it low, just 2 shards for now. It's time to roll the dice. Wow, okay. Let's just be grateful for our win and depart before things get much worse for us. You're about to leave when you see a crowd gathered around a slim, pasty-faced scholar at a card table. "Buy the 3 fortunes, but I'm hot tonight," he cries. It seems he's on a winning streak. You notice a couple of dodgy-looking ruffians watching the scholar carefully. Let's wait and follow the scholar. Sure enough, when the scholar leaves, purse bulging with shards, the 2 ruffians also leave. You follow at a slight distance. As you suspected, the ruffians wait for a suitable moment and then set about the scholar. "Help! Help! Thieves!" cries the scholar in a thin, reedy voice. Let's help him out. You rush in, taking the ruffians by surprise. A couple of good buffets around the head and they run off. The scholar lies groaning on the ground. Well, we'll help him up. Thank you, coughs the scholar. He gives you a vial of yellow dust as a reward. "I found this at an ancient archaeological site I've been studying," he says. "I believe it needs to be thrown into the holy waters at the village of Blessed Springs, although quite what happens then, I have no idea." He thanks you again and takes his leave. So now we have picked up a hidden quest. It's not shown on the quest list, but it leads to a greater quest, and it does have a reward of its own. Now let's stay one night at the inn, and then I feel we should depart and head over to Yellowport. Yes. You're on the cobbled road between Yellowport and Malok City. It is well kept by the Sakaran military. You spot a man ahead, striding towards you. Suddenly, 5 or 6 bandits appear from the wayside to assault him. The lone figure executes a series of movements almost faster than the eye can see, and you see his sword flashing in the sun. Moments later, the bandits are all lying dead or dying around him. You stop to compliment him on his swordsmanship. The man, a grizzled veteran of many campaigns, regards you with steely grey eyes and says, "I have learned much of the arts of war in my time. It is true." Impressed by his skill and demeanour, you venture to ask him to teach you some of these arts. He looks you up and down with a critical eye. "We'd better pass this one." Thank goodness, a double one would have potentially screwed us over quite badly there. He seems to see something he approves of, because he says, "Perhaps, but first you must prove yourself. There is a knight, a man of great evil. He is known as the Black Dragon Knight. Defeat him in battle and I will teach you. Bring me back his Black Dragon shield as proof of your valor." With that, he turns and walks away. It's the only shield I've found in the game to date. I do know that some other shields have been added in Golnir, but I haven't managed to get hold of them yet. They're clearly highly sought after. "But how will I find him? And then how will I find you?" you cry. "Would you have me kill him for you as well?" he asks over his shoulder. "As for the second, ask for me in the Blue Griffin Tavern in Karan Baru. My name is Yanrit the Sun." You come to the top of a wind-swept cliff. An ancient pillar of tumbled rock, pitted and weather-beaten, stands at the cliff's edge, like a broken finger pointing at the sky. Seagulls sing their song of desolation in the air. Judging by the runes etched into the rock, the tour dates back to the time of the Shadar, a race that ruled Harkuna so long ago they are lost in myth and legend. We will examine the runes. Probably won't understand them very well. You take a closer look at the runes. No idea. The runes mean nothing to you. Well, we'll continue along the road. I've been playing too much sorcery. I clicked on the character and tried to drag her to the destination. I can just click on the destination. In this game, clicking on the character brings back up the story book, you know. Yellowport is the second largest city in Saqqara. It is mainly a trading town and is known for its exotic goods from distant Ankon Konu way to the south. The stinking river brings rich deposits of sulfur from the Lake of the Sea Dragon down to the town. From the Lake of the Sea Dragon down to the town. The Lake of the Sea, massive pause, new line, dragon down to the town. Yeah, that's not really how writing works. I'll try that paragraph again. The stinking river brings rich deposits of sulfur from the Lake of the Sea Dragon down to the town, where it is extracted and stored in the large waterfront warehouses run by the Merchants Guild. From here, the mineral is exported all over Harkuna, and it pays really well in Wishport, just around here. Unfortunately, what was that? Unfortunately, all that sulfur has its drawbacks. The stench is abominable and much of the city has a yellowish hue. The river is so full of sulfur that it is virtually useless as a source of food or of drinking water. However, the demand for sulfur, especially from the sorcerers' guilds, is great. Politically, much has changed in the past few years. The old and corrupt king of Saqqara, Corin VII, has been deposed and executed in a military coup. General Grieve Malok and the army now control Saqqara. The old council of Yellowport has been indefinitely dissolved, and a provost marshal, Marlos Malok, the general's brother, appointed as a military governor of the town. Apparently, nepotism is alive and well and living in Saqqara. Pretty sure I mentioned that in an earlier episode at some point, actually. To leave Yellowport by sea, buy or sell ships and cargo, go to the harbour master. Well, first I'm going to check the market for anything particularly extremely valuable that I want to grab. Bearing in mind, I'm going to want some climbing equipment. So I will absolutely take that. That doesn't get equipped. That doesn't go anywhere. Then I'm going to say these are all very nice, but hey ho, money's a little tight right now. We could go and do the rat quest. That involves a lot of fighting, and we'd probably want at least a few healing potions for that, because it's a lot of back-to-back fights that can easily lead to death. Also, we want to possibly improve our thievery and scouting, thievery and magic for that quest. So we're not going to do that. We are going to go to a tavern and recover a little stamina. The Gold Dust Tavern is a plush inn besides the city gates. The tavern costs 1 shard a day, and we've seen all this information before elsewhere. Let's get that point of health back, and then, while I decide what I'm going to do next, I'm going to end this episode here. I think it's been long enough, and hopefully enjoyable enough, even though it's been mostly retreading old ground. And in the belief that most of you will have enjoyed this episode, I do hope you will be back for the next one. I'll see you all next time. Bye for now, everybody.